Hey guys, Xaryu here, and today I am going to do a full-length Shadow Priest guide for 7.3 Legion. You guys have wanted this video more than any other video. You keep asking for it, so here it is. Hopping into the game, we are going to do the normal guide layout where we go over talents and honor talents, goals and objectives, rotation, and then macros. So let's kind of jump into the talents and honor talents first here, and I'm going to tell you kind of when to pick each talent depending on, you know, what composition and stuff like that. So Twist of Fate, guys, is a talent that I always am picking on my Shadow Priest. It's just so good for spells like Shadow or Death. It's so good for, you know, finishing people off once they get lower. And Shadow Priest, sometimes that is an issue with like Shadow Priest Boomkin or some of these roddy Shadow Priest comps that it's just hard to like get that last kill. 20% increased damage and 20% increased healing for 10 seconds when you get a target low. That's just incredible. So always Twist of Fate, guys, as a Shadow Priest in PvP. Here, I'm always taking body and soul. There was a build for a while, I guess I don't even need to talk about it, but with Edge of Insanity where you went Mania, not good anymore. Body and soul, super strong. I don't take Masochism as a Shadow Priest pretty much ever, so always body and soul. That increased movement speed is going to help you get your fears out when you're playing fear. It's going to help you just kite when you need to kite, and since you're shielding quite a bit, you know, it's just very good for your mobility because Shadow Priests have low mobility, and it increases your target's movement speed by 40%. So when you're power word shielding allies, it definitely helps quite a bit as well, and you're going to be power word shielding allies quite a bit as a Shadow Priest to help them survive. So in this third talent row is level 45 talent row is kind of your first decision. Never play Dominant Mind, so it's either Mind Bomb or Psychic Voice. This is either picking that 30-second fear or picking the Mind Bomb talent, which is going to give you the stun. The big difference here, guys, is with Mind Bomb, is you never want to run Mind Bomb when you're playing with like a rogue. I don't even like it when I'm playing with a Feral Druid. I play Mind Bomb when I'm playing with something that doesn't have very many stuns. I play Mind Bomb when I'm playing with Shadow Priest Boomkin, or if I'm playing Shadow Priest Destro Warlock. So kind of like a roddy setup type of composition, or not setup type of composition, not something like RPS or FPS, where you're just going for a Mind Bomb on the DPS and a Silence on the healer. And I'll talk about that later in your rotation or your goals. But yeah, Mind Bomb Silence combos are definitely very good when you're playing a comp like that. Now, guys, if you're playing with a rogue or a Feral Druid or any type of composition that's more setup based and more CC oriented, then you want Psychic Voice to get that 30-second fear. With Psychic Voice, guys, you're going to be able to get CC chains like a kidney shot onto the healer, into a fear, into a silence, into a, you know, a sap or a half blind, or a, you know, another stun, something like that, and you're going for these long CC change on to the healer with fear, right? And then while you're bursting down another DPS. So it really depends on the type of composition you're playing. So yeah, so Psychic Voice when you're playing a setup comp, RPS, FPS, Mind Bomb when you're playing Shadow Priest, Destro, or with a Boomkin. So these next two talent rows, I kind of want to talk about them hand in hand. So either play Lingering Insanity, Auspicious Spirits, or Reaper of Souls, Shadowy Insight, guys. And this is very similar to the row above it when you want to play each one. So let me just go over. Lingering Insanity is going to give you a haste bonus when Void Form ends to help you get back into Void Form, and Reaper of Souls is going to make it so you can death at 35% and under instead of 20% and under. Auspicious Spirits is going to be giving your shadowy apparitions, they do more damage and generate 3 insanity per, and Shadowy Insight is going to give you a 10% chance to reduce, to give you an instant Mind Blast and like cause the cooldown to be reset. So having those instant Mind Blasts. So I choose Reaper of Souls and Shadowy Insight when I'm playing a composition like RPS. When I'm playing a composition like, I think I like this spec better with God comp, so Frost Mage and a Shadow Priest. I like this composition better with comps where you want to burst and you're not just completely spread pressuring. So I like this better with when I'm playing Fear, right? So it's either Psychic Voice with Reaper of Souls and Shadowy Insight, and I'm going for CC chains, going for those fears, going for those setups, and I like this when definitely when I'm playing with a rogue, so that I can start Shadow or Deathing earlier, because we're going for that 100-0 burst on someone, right? We're killing them in a setup. So when you're killing people in a setup, if you can death sooner, you're going to be able to, guess what, kill them quicker, because you'll be able to get that double death off more efficiently than if your death was only 20% or under. Once again, since these setups are so on demand, you can save up these Mind Blast instant cast procs for when you are bursting, and just instant cast Mind Blast, instant cast a Void Bolt, instant cast a Shadow Word Death, instant cast another Shadow Word Death, instant cast another Mind Blast, instant cast another Void Bolt. It's just, the spec's incredible for those instant cast burst windows. Now, it's not as much sustained overall DPS as Lingering Insanity Auspicious Spirits would be. So I like to play Lingering Insanity Auspicious Spirits when I'm playing with a Boomkin, for sure. If I'm playing double Shadow Priest, for sure. I think I like it better with FPS. If you're playing more of like a Roddy style, and if you're playing FPS with more of like a setup style, I guess you could try this as well. They're not too different, but this is going to give you more sustained DPS, guys, and Reaper of Soul Shadowy Insight is going to give you a little bit less sustained, but it's going to give you more burst and kill potential. So it depends, 1, on your playstyle, 2, on the composition, and kind of just in general how you want to play out the game. And I've been messing around with both, and to be honest, I think the Reaper of Soul Shadowy Insight build I like a little bit more as far as my playstyle, because I can do more instant cast bursts and I feel more useful. But I do, whenever I play Auspicious Spirits, Linger Insanity, I'm doing higher sustained DPS. So guys, it's really up to you, depending on what composition you're playing, depending maybe on what you're playing against a little bit, if it's a comp where you need to burst down, or a comp that you can kind of dampen out, wait out. So I'll leave that up to you guys. And then yeah, so with Mind Bomb, Shadow Priest, Boomkin, you do a build like this, right? RPS, you would do a build like this. Okay, so that's the difference there. Misery, having your Vampiric Touch always apply that Shadow Word Pain is something that I am always taking. I'm never going Mindbender, never going Power Infusion, even against things that can't purge. I think just every time you Vampiric Touch, instantly applying that Shadow Word Pain is so valuable. If you think about it, it's saving 1 global pretty much every time you're using Vampiric Touch, because you don't have to reapply that Shadow Word Pain. That's so many extra globals saved, whereas Power Infusion, 20 seconds out of every 2 minutes, you're getting haste, right? You're getting some haste, which is saving some globals, but this is saving so many more globals throughout the entire game, because you don't have to Shadow Word Pain nearly as much. Now, Legacy of the Void, making it so your Void Eruption can cast at 65 insanity or higher instead of full insanity, and your Void form increases shadow damage dealt by an extra 5%. I'm always taking Legacy of the Void. There was a build last patch with Shadow Crash, not doing that anymore. So guys, this is pretty much my main build, and I told you kind of when to change out to something like this as well. So that's talents. Now we're going to look at honor talents briefly. As a Shadow Priest right now, I'm always playing Trinket. Reason being is you can pair it with Life Swap. So Trinket Life Swap is kind of a necessity. It's almost like a Trinket Temp Shield for a Frost Mage. It's something that you can use in unison so that you can guarantee to get that Life Swap off. Something like Adaptation can work. Something like Relentless is just stupid, I think. Like, there's no other way to say it. There's almost no reason to play Relentless. If you're going to play Adaptation against something that doesn't have much CC for you, and the things that do have for you, you can Adaptation out. Like, you can maybe try it, especially if you're a human, but I think Trinket is 99% the way to go. Mind Quickness, 100% of the way to go. I would never play Train of Thought, because you're always going to be attacked in PvP, and Initiation just isn't quite worth it. So Mind Quickness, 6% haste, thumbs up. Void Shield, I'm taking this talent pretty much always. Fleeting Embrace, I think it got nerfed last patch a little bit. It doesn't quite do what it used to. You can play Fleeting Embrace maybe if you're playing double Shadow Priest, but even then it's pretty eh. Void Shield, guys, after you use Power Word Shield, and like I'm saying, you're using those Power Word Shields quite frequently, the damage heals you for 33% of the damage dealt for 5 seconds. So it's like a huge heal and a huge shield every time you're using that Power Word Shield. It's just super valuable defensive here for Shadow Priest to be able to survive. I would say we go with Void Shield almost every single game. Pure Shadow, you can mess around with maybe in RBGs or mess around with against like a Thug Cleave or something with super high burst where you think you might die through Dispersion. But even then, guys, I would recommend not taking Pure Shadow and just dispersing at higher life when you think you're going to need to disperse. So really communicate with your healer. Really be like, okay, I'm going to need to disperse here because my healer's in a full CC. I'm going to disperse at 40 or 50%. So, you know, I might take a little bit of damage, but I'm not going to die, you know, through that 60% damage reduction from, you know, half HP or 40% instead. And then you also have that Void Shield. If you're doing those preemptive disperses, then you also have that Void Shield talent helping to keep you alive. So that's really, 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 really good, right? Void Origins. This is interesting. Last patch, we always played Driven to Madness. Void Origins is now in the meta, and I love it. I love my instant casts. So, like I was saying before, you can just instant cast Void Erupt. If you have a Shadowy Insight proc, instant cast Mind Blast, instant cast Death, instant cast Void Bolt, instant cast Mind Blast, instant cast Death, instant cast Void Bolt. That's what makes Shadow Priest so much fun right now. That's why I've been enjoying mine so much. So it's just, you just have a ton of instant cast damage everywhere, plus you have that Rot Pressure. I'm always playing with Void Origins right now in 7.3. So Psychic, Link, Shadow Mania, and Mind Trauma. This is something that I haven't fully tested. I know that some people are maybe trying a little bit of Shadow Mania. I have been going with Psychic Link every single game. That's what I ran to Gladiator last season on my Shadow Priest. I think it's really, really powerful for spread pressure when you have that Void Eruption going and you're throwing out your instant Void Bolts, your instant Mind Blast. You're just crippling everything because the damage is being spread to all targets with your Shadow Word Pain. I'm always playing Psychic Link right now. If that changes in the future, I'll have it written down in the description, like Shadow Mania is now good or something. But I don't think Shadow Mania is quite worth it, but I have seen some people test it out a little bit. And now we have Psyfiend, Last Word, and Void Shift. I'm never playing Last Word right now. For me, it's Void Shift or Psyfiend, depending on kind of what I'm fighting and what comp I'm playing. If I'm playing a very defensive composition where if we live, we win, we don't need the kill potential to kill, will come eventually, I'm playing Void Shift, and that's most games as a Shadow Priest, right? So I take Void Shift, I'd say like 90% of my games. There's some games, though, when I'm playing Destro Shadow Priest, where we're not going to die. It's just we have trouble getting those kills, and maybe double melee is training, say, like my Warlock, but he's not going to die. It's just taking a while, and I need to be more of a threat. If I have to be more of a threat in some matchups, I'll go Psyfiend. So this might be like a DK Warrior training down my Destro Warlock, and I need them to look at me, and I'm keeping everything dotted, but there's not enough pressure really going out. And if I pick Psyfiend, now guess what? Now they have to get off my Warlock, target the Psyfiend, kill the Psyfiend, and come back. That type of distraction is very, very good. So I do take Psyfiend in some matchups where I'm not really being targeted too much. But I would say Void Shift almost every game, just that extra defensive, that Trinket Void Shift allows you to live. And if you live a lot as a Shadow Priest, you win a lot as a Shadow Priest. They are kind of dampeners in that way. So talents, non talents, guys, pretty much covered it. Hopefully that'll help you decide what to pick as you're entering the game. So let's hop into goals and objectives as a Shadow Priest. I say as a Shadow Priest, there's two main things that you want to be wary about: your spread pressure, like your rot damage, and your support. That's like what Shadow Priests are brought for. You also have a little bit of control with your fears and your silences, maybe your mind bomb, and you have a little bit of burst, like I was talking about with your Void Origins, Void Bolt, Shadow Word, Death. So you have control and burst, but it's not nearly as much as like a Frost Mage control or Frost Mage burst or Sub Rogue control or Sub Rogue burst. You have a little bit of control and burst, but that spread pressure and that support is also there. That's why Shadow Priest is so much fun right now, because you have so many roles in the game. So to talk about, let's talk about the support a little bit first. I'm talking about Power Word Shields. I'm talking about Mass Dispels. I'm talking about Void Shift. I'm talking about Vampiric Embrace. All of these things. And I guess Mind Control as well for a little bit of your support / control. So when to use each. Mass Dispel your healer when he's in like a Polymorph, a Cyclone, a Fear. If you're seeing someone run up to your healer to go and fear him, it's very obvious. A Disc Priest running to your healer, he's going to fear. You can start pre-casting that Mass Dispel. So as your healer gets feared, boom, Mass Dispel off. That's what you're looking to do as a Shadow Priest. If your healer doesn't have to trinket that fear, if you Mass Dispel it instead, guess what? You basically just saved your healer's trinket by getting that Mass Dispel off. These are things you can preemptively start thinking about as a Shadow Priest, Mass Dispelling that CC. Power Word Shield, guys. I have it target party 1, target party 2, and target self macro on my Shadow Priest, and I can just throw shields around whoever needs them the most. Like I said, Body and Soul gives you that sprint when you throw that shield up, so you're going to move a little bit quicker, which helps as well. And if you're shielding yourself, you're getting that Void Shield, which is super, super beneficial to keep yourself alive. So whenever you get kicked on Shadow, you can also use Power Word Shield because it's not in Shadow either. And then as far as your goals, besides that support, I guess with Void Shift too, to quickly touch on it, you're going to be Void Shifting just as a rotational type of thing. Your Shaman's like, all right, I'm going to link this go, next go you Void Shift, next go you might Disperse, next go you might have, you know, something else back up from your another partner, maybe the Warlock will coil or stun or AoE, you know, fear, whatever, like to keep you alive. You're just rotating that Void Shift into your defensive cooldown rotation. Vampiric Embrace, when I usually just use it when we're rotting or when my healer calls for it. And Mind Controls, you can preemptively do it on, like, what I'm trying to do on my Shadow Priest is preemptively Mind Control when a monk pops Serenity. You know, Mind Control a mage when he pops Icy Veins. Mind Control, a lot of the times defensively to peel for your partners. If you're doing it on Blade's Edge Arena, you can Mind Control jump someone off the bridge. You can Mind Control in a lot of these situations defensively. And I don't Mind Control too much offensively because I'd rather just be in Void form, pumping out a ton of damage, getting that CC, instead of Mind Controlling offensively is a thing, like to Mind Control someone low, but it's very, very, very rare. And for the most part, I wouldn't really worry about it instead of just casting another Mind Blast or something like that. So that's pretty much your goals and objectives as a Shadow Priest. Kind of just spreading damage, getting that burst out when you can with your Void Eruption, and then from there, using your support abilities as needed. You're getting your CC chains, like I was talking about earlier. If you're playing with a rogue, kidney into fear, into silence, you're getting those CC chains off onto the healer when you're bursting down the DPS. That's your overall goal and objective as a Shadow Priest. Now for your rotation, guys, it's really, really easy because of Misery. You don't even have to worry about Shadow Word Pain for the most part, but you're going to be triple dotting a lot as a Shadow Priest. So just to exemplify that, you might be dotting 3 enemies. You might have 1 on your focus, one on your primary target. You want to keep Mind Blast on cooldown. I have the Legendary. Normally you only have 1 Mind Blast in PvP, but pretty much you're going to be keeping up dots onto 3 people as much as possible. Once you're in the Insanity range where you can use Void Eruption, you're going to want to use Void Eruption. It's instant cast, so I guess I'll hit the PvP dummy too. It's instant cast, right? So you're going to instant cast Void Erupt, and you're going to just keep up dots on as many targets as you can. You're going to be using your Shadowy Insight procs when they're available. You're going to be using Void Bolt when they're available. You want to keep Mind Blast on cooldown. You want to keep Void Bolt on cooldown. You want to use your procs when you have them back up. You want to Death when it's back up. You want to Void Bolt when it's off cooldown. You want to Mind Blast when it's off cooldown. You want to Death when it's off cooldown. You want to Void Bolt when it's off cooldown. You want to Mind Blast when it's off cooldown. You want to dot people up and then continue. So that is right there what you just saw, guys, is what you want to do as a Shadow Priest in PvP. Every time you're getting that Mind Blast proc, every time that Void Bolt comes back off, every time that Shadow or Death comes back off, you're rotating through your instant cast, keeping up the dots with your Void Bolt, because your Void Bolt will continue to push those dots further and further. Now, once you're back out of your Void Eruption, this is when, you know, you're getting your dots back up. This is when you're generating your Insanity. You might be casting a few Mind Blasts. You always want to keep Mind Blast off cooldown. And then what you haven't heard me say yet is Mind Flay. Mind Flay is something only once all of your other spells have been casted, right? Mind Flay isn't something you're just going to channel like in PvE. Mind Flays, once you have triple dots out, so say I have triple dots out on all 3 targets, once I've exhausted all other instant cast abilities, so once I've used Mind Blast, once I've used Void Bolt, once I've used, you know, everything, and everything is pretty much used, my double deaths, my Void Bolts, my Mind Blasts, and I have nothing else to cast. Right here, I would Mind Flay for maybe a global, and then Void Bolt again, Mind Flay for maybe a global, and then instant cast Mind Blast, Void Bolt, Death. So I pretty much have a consistent chain of things I can do. Casting another Mind Blast, maybe getting my dots back out, Void Bolt over here, and now look, for a second, I have nothing to do, I might Mind Flay for a second or two. What I see a lot of, like, maybe lower rated Shadow Priests do is they're just casting Mind Flay far too often. Mind Flay you can use to slow someone if they're going for a heal as like a control ability, but I really would focus on using all of your keeping those Vampiric Touches and Shadow Word Pain spread, keeping Mind Blast on cooldown, and then using Void Eruption, Instant Cast, Void Bolt, Shadow Word, Death, Mind Blast, and then only when you have nothing else to do, that's when you Mind Flay. So that's the Shadow Priest rotation in PvP. Hopefully that's helpful for all you Shadow Priest out there. Now, I'm going to go over my macros as a final section, and I was looking at my macros before I did this video, and I'm like, I don't have many useful Shadow Priest macros, but I'm going to show them anyway because I want you guys to know what macros I use. But here we have a stop casting silence. This is like if you're casting a Mind Blast and I just press silence, it's going to instantly silence, right? So definitely nice to have a stop casting in the silence. Once again, I have silence 1, 2, and 3 to silence each player in the arena. If I want to, you know, fear one, silence one, and burst the third guy, it's really easy for me to just silence whoever I want on a moment's notice. And then a focus silence. So just very basic. Stop casting silence, silence 1, 2, 3, focus silence. I'll have all my macros linked down below if you want to copy and paste them. Mind Blast macro doesn't really do anything. It just cancels Slow Fall and Levitate and dismounts me while casting Mind Blast. Not a needed macro. It's just something I prefer. This is a nice macro, Shadow Form. If you use Shadow Form and you're already in Shadow Form, it's gonna not take you out of Shadow Form. It's on a toggle, right? It's just gonna keep you in Shadow Form, which is very, very nice. And that's pretty much it as far as Shadow Priest macros go. Spanx, I'm recording a YouTube video, bro. Thanks for the invite. And then, like I said, I have a target party 1 and a target party 2 macro and a target self macro. So target 1, target 2, target self. And this is what I use to quickly target to my party members, throw a shield on them, target an enemy again. Target my other party member, throw a shield on him, or, you know, target myself, throw a shield on myself, then retarget, right? I'm constantly using these macros to swap around targets, and I actually got used to these macros from playing a Discipline Priest, which I've also ran to Gladiator, and I just kind of shifted them over to playing my Shadow Priest to easily target them, or I can also heal a Shadow Mend. I guess I didn't touch on Shadow Mend during the guide, so just quickly, don't use Shadow Mend too much. It eats up about 20% of your mana per Shadow Mend, but you can do it, but most of the time it's better to throw a shield on your teammate and then mind control to peel. Throw a shield on your teammate, get some more pressure. Throw a shield on your teammate, maybe peel the fear or silence. Shadow Mend's only like a last ditch effort to keep someone alive. Guys, that's the Shadow Priest guide. You know your talents and your honor talents, you know your goals and your objectives as a Shadow Priest, you know your general rotation, and you know your macros. So hopefully that helps you guys out for all you Shadow Priests looking to play some arenas. If you guys liked the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, you could thumbs it down and leave your suggestions down below in the comments. Let me know what video you guys want next. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace!